challenges does Canelo pose once you guys get in there?
I don't know. I just think, his punching power and his physical size is the only thing that I really
The man must have seen something when he called Canelo out, because you got to remember, Bud called Canelo out. So he must see something in order for him to get that win. And he know he can win. So like I said before, it's our job to hit him to that.
Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez have never liked each other, but now it's something else. The tension between them has been building for months, and their angry argument at the airport today was just the latest flare-up in a rivalry that's only getting worse, showing us how big this will be.
Canelo versus Crawford, the biggest fight in the game.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like when you looking at Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis, this is the next thing beyond that.
They haven't fought yet, but the fact that they had to be split up shows where things are going. It's getting talked about among professionals, so let's catch up.
I have Canelo. Canelo's more comfortable at 168. He's going to fight again for undisputed for a second time at 168, so this is nothing uncomfortable to him. Terence Crawford's a great fighter, and of course, we're starting to see that he can probably make 168 naturally. But again, it's a different division. 147, 168, two different divisions.
It has been clear from the start that Canelo does not take Crawford seriously. He does not see him as a threat and has not been afraid to say so. It doesn't occur to him that Crawford should be in the ring with him. He says Crawford is too small, hasn't fought at higher weights, and is too cocky after his big win over Errol Spence. One fight doesn't make you great, he said over and over. In Canelo's thoughts, is just another day at work. He doesn't know what to do in this fight, and it will show once they get into the ring.
I don't think it's a fight Canelo really wants, if I'm honest, because I think he feels like he won't get a lot of credit beating a light middleweight. And Crawford's going to move a lot in that fight, which is not ideal for Canelo. But what's his options? I mean, if Bivol wins, he could fight him for undisputed. That's a very tough fight. What's the other options? Benavidez is up at 175. Obviously, His Excellency wants to make that fight, so guess we could see it next.
But Crawford doesn't see it that way. He's been waiting for this chance for years, having watched Canelo change. The slower reflexes, the moments of exhaustion in recent fights. He doesn't think Canelo is the same boxer he used to be. He said outright that Canelo has been ducking real threats, handpicking fights that make him look good while avoiding guys like Benavidez. Crawford thinks he's the one who will expose Canelo, not just beat him but embarrass him. And after today, the rivalry has only gotten worse. It's not just talk anymore. Crawford, still heated from their near fight, didn't hold back. I won't let him disrespect me. If he thinks he can frighten me, he's got another thing coming. There was no promoter next to him, no cameras pushing him to hype the fight, just raw frustration spilling out. He said enough of Canelo's dismissive attitude and enough of being treated like a stranger in the sport. He wants to make this fight personal because for him it already is.
In boxing, you know what I'm saying? And Terence Crawford is a legend. He's great. He's a great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
And
Crawford's move up to 154 pounds was always going to shake up boxing, but now with the clash against Canelo Alvarez looming, everything has increased. After becoming a 4-weight world champion by edging out Israel Madrimov last August, Crawford proved he could hang with bigger men, but now he's eyeing an even greater task, jumping to 168 to face the undisputed king of the division at 37. Time isn't on his side. This could be one of his final fights, and he knows it. That's why he's making it clear that if he's going out, he's doing it on his own terms against the biggest name possible.
A lot of people that say that Crawford can beat Canelo, no problem. I mean, I respect that, but I just think they're stupid. I mean, excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. I mean, you saw Canelo Alvarez fighting Amir Khan. Now, look at this. Terence Crawford moved from 47 to 54 to fight Madrimov. What did he do to Madrimov? Nothing. Okay, Dmitry Bivol was a 54-pounder. Now, to move up to 168, that's 2 more divisions. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford, but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ.
Not everyone thinks it's a bad idea. Shocker Stevenson, who has sparred countless rounds with Crawford, has been one of the strongest voices backing him. He's been saying it for years, even before Crawford himself entertained the idea that Bud's style is a nightmare for Canelo. I always thought that his style versus Canelo, I think he beats Canelo, Stevenson said, doubling down on his opinion that Crawford has all the tools to make this a very one-sided fight. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but he can make it easy.
He was able to take a punch at 135, or Tio, once he moved up to 140, they like, oh, he don't punch as hard as he punched at 140, but you're moving up in weight. So for me to do it in 3 different weight classes at 27 years old, it just makes it so much better. And I understand the sport of boxing. I understand that at 135, the guys is bigger, stronger, tougher, so they're not able to walk through me. Honestly, if anybody could jump up in weight classes and do it, it's Terence Crawford. I don't know nobody who is mentally as strong as Terence Crawford. So
it's a bold take, but Stevenson isn't talking just to hype up his friend. He knows what Crawford is capable of in the ring. He's seen his speed, his ability to switch stances easily, and most importantly, his underrated power. I don't think Canelo is walking through his punches. Terence can punch, and that goes for any weight class. He added that last point is key. Crawford might be smaller, but he's not coming into this fight as some feather-fisted technician looking to live. He's stepping in believing he can hurt Canelo, and that changes everything.
If they do fight, Cole, how do you see it going?
if they do fight, I told you I think that Bud outboxes him. I think he's gonna use his leg, keep Canelo on the outside, and make it an easy night.
Got you.
Dmitry Bivol, the man who already handed Canelo a loss at 175, sees a clear way for Crawford to do the same. But it's not just about skill, it's about how Crawford handles the weight jump. Bivol, speaking from experience, didn't sugarcoat it. He needs to get used to the power and pressure of 168 because it's a big change. That's the biggest question hanging over this fight. Will Crawford's sharpness, timing, and hitting power hold up when facing a naturally bigger, stronger opponent?
First reaction, of course, it was about the size of Crawford. Is it okay for him to move up for 2 weight classes? Yeah, and he has very good skill. He able to win this fight, but there is a lot of but, and even not but. There is a lot of things, small things, which we don't know how he will deal with this. He need to get used to the power and pressure of 168. Maybe he will get used to it, and how he will be feeling himself on the same day when he will fighting, how his training camp will go on, a lot of things. But he's able, he has good skills, he's awkward.
Bivol thinks is possible but warns that physical adaptation alone won't be enough. It's not only about getting used to the power, it's also about being mentally ready, he said. That's something Crawford has never struggled with. He's fought with a chip on his shoulder his whole career, showing people wrong at every turn, but this time the doubts are louder than ever. The boxing world isn't just questioning his skill, they're questioning his ability to even belong in this fight. If that doesn't fuel him, nothing will.
Favor Canelo or Crawford in the fight? Like, how do you think the fight goes?
It goes Crawford will try to keep on the distance Canelo, but also just to keep Canelo.
David Benavidez, the man many think should be facing Canelo instead, is watching this fight closely. He sees it as one of the most interesting matchups in years. This will be a fight for the ages, Benavidez said. Canelo, with his experience, his skills, and his ability to adjust, and Crawford, with his versatility and his technique, have the potential to make an all-time classic.
Crawford throwing his hat in to want to fight Canelo at 168.
I mean, everybody wants to fight Canelo. It's the money fight. You know what I mean? I think even Inoue would come up to fight Canelo. Canelo wanted to fight him. I mean, I don't want to see Crawford to fight Canelo, to be honest with you. But it would be. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a great fight. It would be a great fight. But I feel like if I deserve my opportunity, and and after this fight, what else are they gonna say? You know what I mean? This is a tough fight. You know, the top WBC, the top people ranked at the WBC are fighting each other. So I mean, it shouldn't be. It should be an easy call. If I can't get those fights, then I'll go up to fight Bivol, or I'll go try to, you know, I set my conquest on 175. Like I said, I don't want no handouts either. I want to, you know, earn my spots everywhere I go, even at 175. But you know, I see that weight class. You know, I want to become champion at 175, and that's
Benavidez gets the contrast in styles better than most. He knows Canelo is a master at controlled aggression, picking his shots and breaking opponents down. But he also respects Crawford's ability to switch between orthodox and southpaw, creating angles and making his opponents miss. It'll be about who can impose their style and who can change on the fly, he said. That's what makes this fight so unpredictable. Both men are elite at adjusting, but only one will be able to take control when it counts.
I know you said like he could be the guy. What kind of a chance do you ultimately give him?
I think you give him like a 7 out of a 10.
Oh wow, that high! I thought you were gonna say like 25.
I mean, no, Crawford is good. Crawford is good, and
of course.
I think he's been known that he's gonna fight Canelo for a long time. And you know, Crawford he likes to pick up the weight, so I'm sure he's been working on the weights for a long time. So, you know, Crawford, when he has with a person that has a big IQ like that, if you do enough weights, you know, and you stay working for a long time, you know, you have a puncher's chance, and you could, you know, you definitely, you know, make the other guy uncomfortable or hurt him a couple times. So, yeah, Crawford is a really good fighter. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if he wins.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if a lot of people are picking that, but obviously your opinion would matter.
For Benavidez, the stakes are personal. He's been chasing a Canelo fight for years, only to be told he wasn't the right fight at the right time. Now he's watching as Crawford, an outsider to the league, gets the shot he's been waiting for. He knows whoever wins this fight will be the face of boxing, at least for a while, but he also knows he's not far behind. Whoever wins, whether it's Canelo or Crawford, will probably be next in line for big chances, but I'm ready for any of them. I won't back down from any task, and there's more. Ryan Garcia's words hit the boxing world like a bomb. He didn't hedge his baits or sugarcoat anything to him. Terence Crawford has no real shot against Canelo Alvarez. No discussion.
What about Canelo and Crawford? What do you think?
That's gonna be a great fight too. I can't believe they made that happen. Turkey's been making a lot of great fights happen. You can't really hate.
No fear sitting down with AK and Barack on the Ring Champs podcast. Garcia didn't just predict a Canelo win. He outright dismissed Crawford as a real threat. He can't beat Canelo, Garcia said, shaking his head like it was the most obvious thing in the world. He didn't look that strong against Madrimov, and Madrimov isn't even big. That last part stung. Crawford had edged out Israel Madrimov in his last fight, but Garcia saw nothing there that made him think but had the firepower to move up and hang with a man like Canelo with his size, power, and experience. Garcia thinks Canelo has all the benefits, and he made sure to let everyone know.
I think Crawford has the skill and IQ to win. Canelo is too strong, but would go for Bud just for the upset money. But my problem with that take is this. I hate when in a fight, when the physically weaker guy has to rely on their IQ and skills more.
But then you have James, Tony, the man, fought at middleweight, super middleweight, and light heavyweight. And he doesn't see any of that as a problem. For Crawford, while Garcia fixates on size, Tony sees skill, and in his view, that's where the real difference lies to him. Crawford isn't just good, he's unstoppable. Easy win, Tony stated, when asked about the fight's win. Trust me, that's not the kind of thing you say lightly, especially about somebody like Canelo, but Tony wasn't backing down. Canelo is a good fighter, but he's not on James, Tony's level.
the others say like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just...
That line says it all. Tony sees himself in Crawford, a slick, sharp, multi-dimensional fighter who can pick apart even the biggest, most dangerous punchers. If he thinks Crawford would win easily, it means he believes Crawford's skill set is simply too advanced for Canelo to handle. He's not worried about size, he's not worried about power. He's only looking at who has more tools in the ring, and in his mind, that's Crawford by a majority. Then, as if the argument wasn't already heated enough, Floyd Mayweather Jr. stepped in and made sure his voice was the loudest, and as always, Mayweather wasn't interested in polite analysis. He went straight for the jugular. You can take a guy like Canelo, Mayweather said in an interview with Fight Hype, stopping for effect.
Prediction is Canelo's gonna walk him down. Crawford is gonna do a lot of defense. Now, if he pulls off that win, dude, that's gonna be one of the most biggest upsets of all time.
Mayweather has never believed that Canelo is all that people say. I'll tell the truth about Canelo. The guy was easy, a cakewalk, easy. That wasn't just confidence. That was Mayweather basically telling the world that Canelo, the undisputed king at 168 pounds, the man who has beaten everyone from GGG to Caleb Plant, was nothing special when he fought him. You're all praising this dude. Mayweather continued, he was nothing. I was almost 40, and I cooked this guy easy. That was more than just the dig at Canelo. That was Mayweather drawing a straight line from himself to Crawford, because if he was able to school Canelo at nearly 40, then why wouldn't the younger, fresher, and just as skilled Crawford be able to do the same? Mayweather didn't stop there. He made it clear who he sees as the best fighter living today, as of right now. As of right now, I'd put Terence Crawford as number 1 pound for pound, and that comment alone carried weight. Mayweather, the undefeated legend, the man who dominated boxing for over 2 decades, was basically saying, Canelo's GOAT, but Crawford is better. And if you listen to Mayweather, he beats bigger every single time, but no one's opinion carries more weight than Shawn Porter's when it comes to this fight, because, unlike Garcia, Tony, or even Mayweather, Porter has been in the ring with Crawford. He's felt Bud's power, speed, and skill firsthand, and what he had to say should make anyone betting against Crawford think twice.
How can you, a man coming from 147, I know he's a great man. Crawford is a great man and a great warrior. But you come from 147 to put on a better fight than I mean, I don't even know what that means. I don't know if that means that Crawford is so great and he can do that, or that means that Charlo set the bar so damn low that anybody could do better.
Crawford is as you think he is. Porter told TalkSport Boxing his voice carrying the certainty of experience, and then he gave Crawford the kind of compliment that speaks volumes. I'll tell you what separates him from everybody. He has, if physically he puts in the work, he has all that, but he has an added component of being the strongest and most courageous man I've ever been in the ring with. That's the kind of thing you don't hear often in boxing. Fighters praise each other all the time, but to say someone is the strongest and most courageous man you've ever fought, that's different, that's next level, and that's exactly why Porter believes Crawford can beat Canelo. I do believe he can beat Canelo, he continued, sounding more convinced with every word. I think it's perfect timing for both of them. I think Canelo has enough miles on the clock that he could break down over 8-10 rounds, and it could be Terence fight. That last part is key, because while many look at this fight and see size, weight, and power as the deciding factors, Porter sees something else: timing. Yes, Canelo is a beast at 168 pounds, 76 kilograms. Yes, he's the undisputed champion, but he's also been in some major wars. The trilogy with GGG, the difficult loss to Bivol, the fights against Kovalev, Plant, Saunders, and Charlo, all of those battles take a toll, and Porter thinks that toll might be enough to tilt this fight in Crawford's favor. Crawford, on the other hand, is coming up fresh. He's not battle-worn and not carrying the same miles, and if he can take Canelo into deep seas, push him into the later rounds, and keep making him work, Porter thinks that's where Crawford wins this fight. Joe Rogan isn't buying the idea that Canelo Alvarez has some overwhelming edge over Terence Crawford, while most of the boxing world is fixated on the weight jump. The UFC commentator is looking at the fight from a different angle. To him, isn't about size, it's about skill, and Crawford has more than enough of it to handle himself inside the ring. Speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience alongside Antonio Brown, Rogan didn't hesitate to push back against the storyline that Canelo's size would be too much for Crawford. You know why I'm excited? Terence Crawford and Canelo, that's the one. Many people think Terence is too small. He weighed in the other day and weighed 185 pounds. Rogan pointed out that right there is a game changer. People look at Crawford and assume he's a small guy because he's been competing at 147 and 150 pounds. But the truth is, when he's not cutting weight, he walks around much bigger than people think.
Get his big bank and get out. His big bank is who? Canelo. He willing to take that gamble, see if he can beat him. If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, okay, I took it as high as I could go. I'm done.
That'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
If he's already touching 185 pounds naturally and moving up to face Canelo, 168 isn't nearly as drastic as it sounds. Well, he just won the 150 pounds title. You know, before that he was fighting at welterweight, which is 147 pounds, but it's not like he doesn't have time to put on a little weight, Rogan continued, and that's the key. Crawford isn't rushing into this fight, he's taking his time, allowing his body to naturally adjust. He's not making some reckless jump where he shows up undersized and overmatched. By the time the fight happens, he could be just as strong, just as durable, and just as effective as he's always been, more than anything. Though Rogan knows that boxing isn't just about size, it's about skill, and if you ask most boxing purists, Crawford is as complete a fighter as they come. His record speaks for itself: 41-0, 31 knockouts.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. You know, big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. You know, it ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I'm
No one has figured him out. No one has even come close to beating him. And if there's one thing that holds up across all combat sports, it's that top skill can often neutralize size. The trouble for Canelo isn't just that Crawford is skilled, it's that he's different. He's a switch hitter, a master at controlling distance, a fighter who makes in-ring changes better than almost anyone. Against Israel Madrimov, he showed just how flexible he is, dominating a naturally bigger opponent. Canelo, meanwhile, still has work to do before this fight even happens. He's set to face William Skull on May 3rd, and while most expect him to win, boxing has seen stranger things happen. If he does get through that fight, then the stage is set for Crawford versus Canelo, size versus skill, power versus accuracy, and, according to Rogan, a fight that's far closer than people think. Well, how do you see this going? Share your ideas below and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.